Welcome aboard this gorgeous Arva 230 AS here at John Crawford Marine. Today we're going to shoot our tips and maintenance section on the spacious cockpit of this vessel. Today I thought we might talk about some things that we put on board our boats, our family boats, when we go boating. First of all, we have a box of bits and pieces, and secondly, most important, a very good family first aid kit. So I thought I'd just run you through a few things that we store and we keep on board and the reasons why. So just so you know, this hasn't been screened just for the show. This box has quite literally just come out of our family boat. So let's have a look inside and see what we've got in there. Some of the first things we always have with the children on board, and obviously ourselves, depending where we're going boating, is some Aerogard and some sunscreen lotion. It's always good to have that spare. How often do you get in the boat and forget a hat? So we always have a couple of spare hats in our box just to keep the sun off our heads. Or a friend might come out and forget to bring one. Although the children use this all the time, the baby wipes, I actually find them comes in handy as well to get that pilchard or that squid or that bait smell off your hands. But a great thing to have, just some children's baby wipes. The proverbial can of Coke holders. Dad, I need to do a number 2. Well, that's taken care of there as well. A box of matches. No, I don't endorse smoking on a boat. But you know, maybe burning the ends of a rope, or alternatively a Tom Hanks Castaway style of deserted island, you can light a fire. Spare bung plugs. How often? Well, actually, there you go. It doesn't happen to me often, but sometimes I forget the bung plugs. Actually, someone might take them out of the boat. That's what it is. Always have spare bung plugs. Zippy ties always come in handy. They're like a paper clip to an office worker. A range of jobs with zippy ties. The next one there is an oil measuring container. So it gives you the different ratios for oil mixtures, 50 to 1, 25 to 1. So that's good if it's an early morning and the maths or the arithmetic's not worked out too well. So always a great thing to have. Followed by, if your motor's a 2-stroke, always keep a spare litre of oil on board in a container like this. The other great thing is, they might only be worth $5, but someone, if they're broken down out of oil, they might give you 20 for it. A spare set of gloves. I always have these on board in the event that your anchor jams and you've got to go up the front of the boat in a heavy sea and pull that anchor rope up. Nylon rope under pressure and under strain over your hands can really burn your hands. So I always keep a pair of these on board in the event that I need to work with rope. But also too, if you've got the crab pots out and you're doing a long haul up from the bottom, they save your office worker fingers. A spare rag always comes in handy, wiping down a screen, cleaning up a mess or an oil spill or something like that. So a rag's a great idea. Some pegs on board. Look, we use pegs on the boat, putting up the beach towel up and over the bimini top or the like, or crimping a hose or a tube. That always come in handy there, the old common pegs. Some spare line. With our little motor, we've got a little 30 horsepower, it has a pull start mechanism. And sometimes that pull start mechanism rope can snap. So I always have a spare one of those in the boat. They're only a few dollars from a chandlery shop. If you don't want that, you can always just make one out of yourself out of some of this nylon strange rope. But that again comes in handy for the odds and ends. Well, there you go. For the fisherman that's in us, you know, I wish. But a set of fishing scales. Not that we're here to promote brands, but look, something like a water disbursement spray, an Inox, CRC, WD-40 or a Worth product is always a great thing to have. But always keep a good can of this in case the motor gets some salt water on it or something needs to be undone and it's a bit of corrosion there. So a can of water disbursement spray. Naturally, some tools. A shifter is excellent for working with a whole range of different size bolts and nuts that are on boats, coupled with just a small little toolkit. It's nothing flash, but remember, it's only something to keep on the boat in the event of an emergency. But we've got a spark plug remover, we've got a little pair of pliers and some common ring spanners there as well, and open-ended spanners. For the oily rag at the end of the day, I like to put that in a Ziploc plastic bag and put back in here. Just remember, plastic on boats or plastic with the wildlife doesn't mix, but it's a good spot to put those dirty rags at the end of the day. In the big box here, I always carry a spare set of binoculars. Now the reason I carry binoculars on the boat is twofold. In the event that there's an emergency out on the water and you need to see and spot something because you might hear them on the radio in distress, picking up your crab pots when the wind picks up in the afternoon and the white caps are on the sea and you can't see your white floats of your crab pots, and also too for bird watching, and I mean the feathered kind. Stanley knife for cutting things. I also keep a copy of the recreational boating and fishing guide in the boat. The reason for that is sometimes we might catch a fish and I'm not too sure of the bag limits or the size limits, and I don't really want to be pulled over and fined. So I like to try and do the right thing, keep one of these on board. These are free from nearly all of your good leading marine outlets. Going hand in hand with information, I'm also still learning about the Moreton Bay Marine Park for those of us that are under these guidelines. So I always keep that on board, just in the event, again, you're in an area that's new, you're exploring, you know, about fishing lines, regulations and speed. Because, you know, really, naivety today is not an excuse. You do need to know. So again, you can pick these up from your leading marine chandlery shops. For those that don't have a GPS on their boats, this is a photocopy of the jumping pin area. I don't know how many people have been down there, but it's quite a complicated waterway, and sometimes I get a little bit confused where I've been or where I'm going or where I am. So I like just to have a little chart there, you know, just to keep me on the right track to head home with. Nothing like being lost. There you go. Who says I'm not a fisherman? I always have a little tackle box on board the boat, just in case the kids want to dangle a line and catch a fish. This here is not a CPR resuscitation device, it's a spotlight. Again, just in case it's dusk or dawn and the torch batteries run out, I've got this that I can plug into the 12-volt adapter on my boat, whether it be the tinny or the big family boat. But that's a fantastic little hand light and it's waterproof. Again, coming in at night time, trying to find the crab pots or the campsite. Last but not least, we're not meant to rely solely on GPSs as a sole means of navigation. So I still like to have a chart on board the boat of the area that I'm boating in. This one here is of Moreton Bay, and it goes basically from the bottom end of the bay to the top end of the bay. So there's some fantastic map books available for the bay, but I still like my paper chart. So this one here basically takes us from the southern of Moreton Bay up to the northern end of the bay. Shows us all of the beacons and the waterways. Again, just to know spatially where you are and what distance it may be to get back to shore. And last but not least, a little plastic card on knots. I think this is something we might touch on in one of our next tips and maintenance sections, is just maybe 3 of the most common knots that you use on a boat, and we might go over how to tie them and what they are in another section. But this is a little waterproof one. Just in the event you forget how to do it, you can pick up these from your chandlery shops as well. So that's my boat bits and bobs and pieces box. Effectively an arrangement of gear that I don't use regularly, but if I'm out on the water and I do need something or bits and pieces, I've got something there that I can do a MacGyver style and get myself out of trouble and hopefully get back to shore.
Nathan's Cruise Craft is a real looker out on the dam, and I definitely can't wait to get behind the boats. But of course, it's time to talk to the big man himself, just to find out a little bit more about this cracking looking boat. Well, Nathan, we finally got me on the water. The boardies were on, the sunscreen was on ages ago, but we're finally sitting there motoring around. This is an absolute beauty vessel. Tell me some stuff about it, because I'm looking around just going, yes, yes, awesome, even better. Tell me all about it.
No worries. It's a Cruise Craft Resort 6. It comes in 2 versions. We do it in an outboard version. The one we're sitting in today is a stern drive version. So it's running a 5-litre MPI Mercruiser stern drive. Yep. Gives us the availability to come skiing at the dam like this, or tomorrow we could be running over to Tangalooma. It gives us that the multi-purpose style boat. It's a bow rider, so we're using 100% of the boat. It's got some nice features in the way that the sound systems are done, the stainless steel tops, the covers, the wake towers. Standard boat's quite comprehensive, and then we can just load it up with options. Okay, so do you buy the stock standard and then say, hey, look, you know, now I want to throw this stuff on there? We can do that as well. You can either go into the dealership and have a look at it as a standard boat and build it up from there. Yep.
So. And now, do we ever get anyone coming in and going, hey, I've got an idea, or I've got this kind of money, just build me something awesome?
Yeah, we do. Yep. We do. There's a certain amount of customisation that we can do. Yep. We try and stick to a standard, But outside of that, yeah, you know, there's a little bit that we can do there.
So the design behind these boats are purely, I guess, you know, your wakeboarding, skiing boats, but like you were saying, very versatile, and you can use them, you can go fishing in them, you know, can you do all that kind of
You
stuff?
can do all that with this. The Resort series is based on the hull is based on our Outsider series, which is a blue water fishing boat. We've used the same underwater geometry and then brought it into a more of a sports boat. They've been out of the market now for about 7 or 8 years, extremely accepted, and yeah, good rough water boat, but also as you can see today, like it's fantastic for doing what we're doing.
It's going to be unreal, I can't wait. Now, I've got to ask you this, I love this kind of stuff. Max speed, what are we looking at? You know, from zero to kind of punching it out.
Max speed on this particular vessel is about 50 miles an hour or 80 k's an hour. You know, we could prop it to make it go a lot faster, but what we try and do is build a boat that gives you the good cross section of performance. We want it to be fast out of the hull, we want it to be good on the top end, and nice in the mid-range. So.
Okay, so it's got everything.
It's got everything. Yeah,
now, I'm looking here, I've got this thing staring at me at this point in time. Stereo. I know a lot of wakeboarding boats come out these days, they've got pumping stereos on them. Now, is that for, obviously, you know, all generations, but is that so the guys out the back, you know, they can get a little bit more excited, start doing the big tricks? Is that what it's for?
That's what it's for, you know, it really is to get the people out the back involved in what's going on. You know, people perform a little bit better with more music and so forth, so a range of options and sound systems that we can put in. You know, this one's fitted with an iPod dock, you know, it's AM, FM radio, it's got everything you ever wanted in it. And yeah, we can just keep going from there.
Is there, now I know there's certain restrictions with cars, you know, like subs and stuff like that. Now, do boats have the same thing?
No, I'm not aware.
Do these things just come along, you know, you can feel probably the water vibrating next year as something pumps along?
There is certain boats out there that'll do that.
And no wonder the younger generation absolutely loves stuff like this, because this is unreal, you know, from your seats to your tarps to the front to the whole lot, including the stereo, you know, that package of just getting out of the water and having a good day. You know, I guess you just can't go past something like this.
You can't go past something like this. It is a good, versatile, multi-purpose boat, and that's what it's all about.
And maintenance. Okay, let's get into the serious stuff. Maintenance on something like this, is it hard? Like,
it's not hard. No, it's no different to a vehicle. Once a year or you know, twice a year servicing, depending on how much you use it. The big thing with boats is probably the lack of use. A lot of people don't use their boats enough, and that can actually cause more problems than using it more often. So, you know, we try and promote through our brand that, you know, get out. You've got a wonderful investment. Get out and use it.
Yeah. Don't just let it sit there.
Don't let it sit there.
A bit of a show. Actually use the thing.
Yeah, exactly.
These things are great, mate. Well, I reckon we can leave it there. I'm kind of itching to get into the water out the back, but after what you said, you know, 80k, let's keep it down to somewhere maybe around 20 and see if we pull me out of the water and we'll go from there. Now, is there anything else you could tell, you know, viewers at home if they're looking to get something like this and they're kind of going, well, all right, so we've got the choice of the, you know, the wakeboarding typical style boat, is what we talked about just then, as opposed to, you know, your tinnies. Like, does it matter about licensing? Like, do the licenses cover the same boats, or? The
licenses will cover the same boats to a certain length. There is some new legislation that's come in, I believe, that you know, for boats bigger may need a little bit further training. But you know, from a tinny through to this, you know, it's all probably more an experience-based thing. Okay. You know, and that's where it really is. The beautiful bit with water skiing is that you don't, like, this is a fantastic boat. It's got everything. It's the top of the line. You don't need to start with one of these. This is what you basically build yourself to. You can start with a tinny with a 30 horsepower on it, get the kids out, get them involved in it. All of a sudden they say, hey Dad, we need a bigger boat, and then that's where you end up.
So it's just building yourself up, just like anything, you know, you buy your basic Toyotas and your Holdens and all that kind of stuff, to working them up, you know, to the real later models. You save your pennies, you work hard. That's a good advertising campaign for the kids at home, you know. Save those pennies, work hard, start on a basic tinny and work your way up to something like this.
Exactly.
Well, I reckon that's it. We've covered everything. We don't even need to talk anymore about this. I reckon we get out there and have a bit of fun.
Let's go to the play,
see what she's got.
All right, good stuff.